Morning, all.
Good morning and very Merry Christmas to you all. It's lovely to be in your homes and share this time from home. You can see from the background, it's not church today.
Morning, Daniela. Good morning. And sorry, my brain's gone quiet at the moment. This is the first Christmas service that we've ever done at Wimbledon on a Christmas day. And especially we extend our thanks again to Richard James for all his support and help with doing this service this morning. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning to see you. Thank you for your prayers this week. It's been really helpful. Stacey, good morning.
Lovely to see so many of you, and I've already seen Alwyn's name up, and Phil. So it's nice to see. Oh, and June Malkin. So welcome to some of our flock from Wimbledon, and welcome to our bigger flock that are not in Wimbledon but are all over the country. So it's really good to see you, and thank you for joining us this morning. We used to have a service Christmas Eve that went into the early hours of the Christmas, but with people unable to travel, it made good sense for us to come into your homes this morning and just share this time with you. And we've got Babs as well, our dear Barbara, that's linked via June's phone. So welcome to you.
Jackie and I have spent some time this morning before the service phoning different people that we know are either alone or unwell. And I would extend that thought to you all, those who perhaps you know who are unwell. I know Karen's probably phoned her dad, Karen Goddard. So if you can think of others today, do phone them, wish them a Merry Christmas, a short phone call. Morning, Wendy. And it's important this day because I think, like you all, we're all suffering from the exclusion zones and everything that's going on with COVID. And Jackie and I yet haven't seen our kids, our grandkids, but we are going to see our family at socially distant later today. But we're on our own. We're making good of it. This is the first Christmas in 43 years we've totally and utterly been on our own, and we're going to enjoy it. We're going to be positive, and in our lifetime together, because Jackie comes from a big family. She used to meet over the Christmas, sort of 28 cousins used to meet up with over Christmas Day and Boxing Day. And I used to meet up with my cousins, which was about 7 or 8 at different times, and with our parents and one of my grandparents, my nan, and have a Christmas party and a sing along as you do. I do remember congregating out in Gaskell Street one day in Stockwell once, but that's a vague memory. But I do remember the family doing that. So have a blessed day, all of you. And I would ask you just be still for a moment, and while I open our service and meeting with prayer. Father God, this day, this Christmas day, we come to you seeking communion with thee and our loved ones. And especially we acknowledge the birth of light, the new light upon this earth, where we can gain strength from, which we can gain knowledge from, which will inspire us to go out and try and help those people we meet upon the highways and byways of life. At this time of lockdown, for so many people that are alone or homeless on the streets, we send out our prayers and our love. But we ask, O Lord, that you send your ministering angels to those lonely people, the people on the streets and in homes. We also ask a blessing upon the work of Crisis and so many other charities that are working this year. One of our mediums, Bill Hughes, has helped raise money for Croydon Night Watch. We bless all those workers and supporters of these charities, and we ask that they continue in their strength and their light. Heavenly Father, there's so much we could pray for this morning, but we're also mindful, very mindful, that we are perhaps for the first time without our parents or grandparents or parents and friends that have passed to the Spirit this year. But we acknowledge extremely strongly that we are not alone. Though we may feel alone, we know that you are with us. Your guides, guardian angels, inspire us and comfort us. So I ask that the wings of angels enfold us all in their love and strength. Amen.
Yeah, and I want us to stay in that thoughtful moment and to now send out healing for those individuals that we have there in our hearts that we know about, our friends, our family. We want to send to Rose and Lynn and to Wesley and his family, to Amber, to Jill, to our own Rachel, to Steve and Kelly, and all the people that are unwell at this time, that are suffering either physical difficulties and mental difficulties, and that sense of isolation. And we, as Ray has already mentioned, all the key workers, but if we can just think of the key workers still having a very busy day today, looking after the very sick, looking after all of those in need. And to some degree, this is probably the Christmas that has the most meaning. I've often thought that Christmas, if you took away the commercial side, it's that heart of Christmas. It's that sending of love. Love is the most important aspect. Bringing the light now around us. I want you to invoke all of your loved ones that you've shared Christmases with, all around you, to give you healing, to join with friends and family. Just have it as a visualization of just holding their hands, forming a giant circle, and sending the healing energies out to all those in need, that we may give healing to Mother Earth herself, to the animals that are in need, to all the shelters, to just bring that healing energy. Just feel that electricity with individuals. If you're in a household and you can join arms, then wonderful. But if you're by yourself, as many of us are today, then just visualize your embrace of those individuals. Feel the healing for yourself as raindrops of energy, permeating from head to toe, but also coming up like electricity, leaving your home and going all around the world. And let's just have a few seconds of silence for reflection of those that are so unwell at this time. And we thank our Father, Mother God, and our healing angels, for we know thy work will be done now, for the rest of the day, for the whole of the holiday period, and into next year, when next year will be much brighter. But let us keep the light burning. Let us keep that flame and that renewal of the symbol of Christmas together. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. As Jackie gets ready for the reading that she's going to do and ask for to talk, I say good morning to Claire. Claire, it's lovely to see you. I hope everything's well with you and you're safe and sound. And I saw so many other people, Mary Dixie, our own Ashley, Bethany, good morning. Happy holidays to you too. And Mr. and Mrs. B, good morning. I hope you have a great day. Enjoy yourselves. And it's very important, Julie, good morning. It's very important that we try to focus on what we can do for others today. Joy, good morning. Yes, you're on your own, but you have your dog, and the ancestors in the spirit world are there to keep you strength and give you comfort. So I'll ask Jackie now to do a reading that she's going to do this morning.
May the joyous spirit of the glad Yule season suffuse mortal communication with the spirit world, with compelling assurance that departed loved ones still live and love as before. May the glow of spiritual understanding warm human hearts with brotherly spiritual love. May the ceaseless Christmas spirit of peace, goodwill on earth, wholly possess the earth, reigning in the hearts of all. May the spirit of this occasion bring man ever closer and closer to his beloved in spirit, and into his life the eternal things of the blessed season. It came upon the midnight clear, that glorious song of old, from angels bending near the earth to touch their harps of gold. Peace on earth, goodwill to men, from heaven's all gracious King. The world in solemn silence lay to hear the angels sing. What sweeter thoughts can we have of the Christmas message and the Christmas scene than pictured in the sublime carol? The only thing absent is the glittering white snow, the moonlight shining on the quiet country hills, and their radiance gleaming against the windows on Christmas Eve. An immortal beauty is reflected from the presence of the angel host as they sang their songs of peace. All the joys of Christmas and the happiness of the Christ child bless us all as we contemplate the scene. Expressively gracious is the happiness reverberating around us. In the hearts of the shepherds it vibrated, and so today we feel its echoes as we instantly join in the prayer of praise and thankfulness. Down to the earth floats the song as it compels us to join in with a prayer of love and trustfulness. Its cadence utters everlasting peace. We are transported into the realms of great glory in the spiritual essence of God. From the celestial region of the planets, in starlit space and beyond their furthest reaches, came the angel host. They came from the very presence of God, exalted with a spiritual message of joy to the world, tidings of joy which shall be to all people. He echoed some of the great thoughts of Joseph Addison, the British poet, who had written, "'Tis the divinity that stirs within us. 'Tis heaven itself that points out a hereafter, and intimates eternity to man. Eternity, thou pleasing, dreadful thought, through what variety of untried being, through what new scenes and changes must we pass? The wide, the unbounding prophets lie before us." God meant the soul of man to be joyful. We cannot praise God with a sorrowing heart. Life should be blissful, earnest experience for us. The atmosphere of Christmas foretells for us the joy that must be ours in the realms of eternity. The harmony of the spheres proclaim it, and the love and affection we bear towards one another mirrors in the hearts of man. We clasp hands as we stand around this Christmas time. Our eyes are misty with the soft kindness of love. We rejoice together and tenderly, murmuring each other's names. For this is a holy moment, and may never again come to us such completeness of family union. The Spirit of the Christ is upon us, and his voice seems to speak to us in soft benediction. Yes, happy Christmas, Merry Christmas. Tidings of great joy spread through all the land. Spirit friends are very near to us during this beautiful season, and the harmony of their songs of love blends with the majestic music of the spheres, and over land and sea floats the blessed symphony, sounding forth the great love of God. May there be a blessing on these words spoken this morning. Thank you. Now, I chose that reading because it's talking about the great joy coming to the world. And that joy is also the Yuletide of the pagan tradition of the light returning, because the longest day was the 21st of December. So we begin to see lightness appear. It may only be a minute in the morning coming earlier. It may only be a minute staying longer in the evening. But it is the beginning of the turning, where we know that on our hemisphere we are beginning to get the sun again. It may be chilly, we may have a couple of frosty months ahead of us, but it is that promise that as we go into the new year, that we have got the light returning to us. And the symbol of the gift, that the gift is our knowledge, our spiritual knowledge, our spiritual footprint on this world. And certainly this year, I think we have all learned a lesson in empathy for understanding those individuals that have been lonely, not just for this pandemic, for weeks or months or even years, that because of the bad mobility, they cannot get out, because from no fault of theirs, that families have moved away, passed to the spirit, that they are the only person of that family left. And that's why I want you to invoke the memories of the Christmases that you've had in the past, to create that love again of those individuals, because in the words of that reading, that your loved ones are around you for this Christmas time. And one thing they don't want to see you is sad. You know, we have to walk this path by ourselves. And at times, you know, we feel that loneliness. But know that they try to guide you. They try to embrace you. Feel the love. Feel yourself in a marshmallow pink blanket around you from the love of people that you knew that are there in the spirit. Put your photographs out and speak to those individuals. Know that with our belief, we know that they will be with us. Send out your thoughts, because every thought is very powerful energy. So make them positive thoughts. Don't get into the politics of the day of vaccines and illness and whether we in lockdown or not lockdown. What we have to do is raise the vibrations. We have to bring that light back into our lives. We have to bring that light back into everyone else's life. We have to have the time for individuals. And if that's one thing I will remember of 2020, isn't the sadness of saying, oh, well, God's let this happen. No, he hasn't. God has been there every time somebody has done a good deed. Every time somebody has created a new soup kitchen or is taking parcels to individuals that they know are in need of food or upliftment. I watched a program in the hours of the night as I'm having a great difficulty in sleeping, and there was a assistant head teacher who, because there was 40% poverty in his school, where they were short of money and food and all were used to free school meals, that he put it on himself to go round to every child in that school and walk 7 miles a day delivering the food parcels. And they were showing at Christmas trying to make all these food hampers, and he was walking with all of these parcels. It was incredible to see that, you know, he had the most huge rucksack on his back and so many bags that he was carrying. And that's one thing I do believe, that it isn't like the physical war of the 2 world wars, another conflict, but there are so many people that have done so much for their community that we actually need to focus on them and to, you know, eventually show our gratitude to these individuals. I think there should be a medal for people that have done these wonderful things in their community, because that is where spirit is, that is where healing is, that is where the energy of God is, and that is also the spirit of Christmas. I often say that during that period from November into December, people have goodwill to everyone. And it's at that time that I wish that everyone could have that Christmas spirit the whole year through. And this has meant that people are having that spirit the whole year through. They are doing their best to make this a better place, that we have far more emotion and feeling for others, that we're no longer as material as we were. Whether it's because we just don't have money in our pockets, we've not been able to get out and do the spending. But you take that spending out of the equation, then Christmas has a much more spiritual meaning, and that sense of renewal as we go into a new year, the beginning again. And then we look symbolically that as we go into the spring, that it is life renewing itself. The tiny little snowdrops that come through the very hard ground, the beautiful tiny flower, to give life renewal again. As we start to see everything come alive in the spring, then we know that we are in a much brighter place. And if as light workers we can keep that light burning so that it doesn't go out, then we can keep ourselves in that light, and we can keep our friends and family in that light with us. and we must focus on bringing all other individuals to join us into that light. So thank you for listening to me on this lovely Christmas morning where we have sunshine where we are and blue sky. Doesn't matter how cold it is, it's that knowledge that there is the sun out there, that there is a new tomorrow. Thank you and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Jackie. Just want to say a few hellos again. We had Shirley on, well done. Di Fleming, Phil again, Sally, Tina, Eileen and Kim. So thank you all. Kim, I'm going to be trying giving your mum, Chris, a call in a little while. And hope she's well in Spain. And if any of you ever need a minister or someone to talk to, if you're living out in Alicante, we've got a lovely minister there, Christine Woodham. She, I know, will endeavour to help you. She used to be a wonderful healer at Wimbledon Church, and I know she's still a wonderful healer out in Spain. Sue, good morning and welcome to you. And thank you for joining us. And it's very important today how we join and unite, because so much in this world. Morning, Ian. God bless you, my friend. God bless you indeed. So much we need to do in this world. Jackie and I have had an interesting journey amongst ourselves. I've lost about just over 3 stone in weight. Jackie's lost about 2, and it's been an enjoyable journey. It's been tough. The only thing is my arthritis has got worse, and the doctor did say to me, it's because you've lost weight. And I said, you do one thing to get one thing done, you get another thing. But that's life. And I'm trying to live life where possible actions have their consequences, and also to be positive in this outlook. This COVID-19 has scared me. I've been extremely concerned about Jackie catching it because Jackie's got a low immune system. But I've handed everything back to God. It's in Spirit's hands, and it's looking great from our perspective. I had a lovely photograph last night, or Jackie and I had lovely photographs of our 2 little grandsons, and I never make apologies for speaking about my grandkids because they're sweet little demons at times. And one was dressed up, Noah, as a doctor, and Ethan was dressed up as a police officer. And I phoned Noah up to speak to him via his dad. And I said to Noah, Noah, Granddad's got a headache. I need a doctor. He said, Granddad, don't be silly. I'm not a real doctor. You need to find a real doctor. And Ethan said, I can't arrest you now, Granddad. I'm eating my lolly. So that is part of what Christmas is. I remember the excitement as a kid, Christmas and Santa and all that wonderfulness that goes with it. I can remember my mum and my nan arguing if there should be a 6pence going in the Christmas pud and what sort of stuffing we should have with the turkey or the chicken that we had. Christmas needs to be approached as a child still, with that excitement and joy in our hearts. And we need to be positive with that. It's my birthday in a few days' time. And I always found birthday and Christmas a difficult time because so many presents I'd get either not for Christmas or for Christmas and then not for my birthday. And as a child, that was difficult. I had an aunt who's still with us in Sussex, Dina. She was the first lady to ever buy me a razor. She said, kissed me one morning at a social gathering, and she said to me, oh, you need to learn to shave. And she bought me an electric razor, a Ronson. Never forget that. And she always brought positive prizes and gifts for Christmas. And we need to focus on that. Now, I just want to share a few words with you. First of all, there's a book here called In Tune with the Infinite by Ralph Trine. And he starts off in the preface. There is a golden thread that runs through every religion in this world. There is a golden thread that runs through the lives and the teachings of all the prophets, seers and sages and the saviours of the world's history. Through the lives of all men and women of truly great and everlasting power, we learn the ways of God. At this time, with the sadness and the fear that's going around in this country, and I'm aware of so many people within Wimbledon Church that are separated from families today, but I have to ask you to look beyond the horizon. Look to that beautiful, beautiful sunrise because there is light at the end of this tunnel. I know we have more COVID viruses breaking out. There's the most we've had for quite some time, but we must look beyond the horizon. As I said to somebody the other night at a church, please, please don't always look at the sadness of the news. Get the headlines and put on something positive. Jackie and I have been listening to Christmas music most of the morning. There's a wonderful station based in Havant called Angel Radio. It's not a spiritual radio station, but it is a great radio station. It's for the over 60s and 80s and 90s. You know, my dad used to listen to it a great deal when we had our caravan in Hayling Island. But it's a station we've been listening to this morning. I've been playing some wonderful music, very uplifting. And I want to try and bring you the message of hope today, the message with knowledge. It's important that we keep and hold fast to what we know to be true. You and I may differ in what we see to be true, but hold fast to that truth. If I am offered the vaccine, and I know Jackie says this as well, I will take it. I don't know when I'm going to be offered. I'm not rushing it to be offered, but I will take it. If I'm going to help myself to be well, I need to help myself to be well. It's important, really important. Good morning, Pamela. Really lovely. Thank you for those words. It's important that we do what we feel to be right. It's our lives and it's our karma. If people don't want to have the vaccine, don't. There are people in the United States of America, including some people in office, that do not really believe there's a problem with COVID-19. Fine. I don't have an issue with that. What I have an issue, we have a personal responsibility as spiritualists. It's in the 7 principles of spiritualism, and it's everything we believe to be true to ourselves. The truths that we find to be self-evident. There is but one God, creator, sustainer of the universe, unseen but ever present. And through that, we get the gift of the Spirit teachers. Julie just said, Spirit helpers told us to smile, life is rich. And that is so true. I can remember so many people in my youth growing up in Brixton that had nothing. They lived in damp, horrible, cold rooms. My own nan, my nanny Lil, lived in a room in a house that was still from war damage. And in her own way, she was extremely happy living in that house. And when she did finally get offered a property, it was 12 or 14 floors up in a tower block, and within 48 hours she was back to the cold dampness of Elwell Road, because that's where she had her life. I've been watching programs the last couple of days where we've watched what's gone on in World War II, how the people came united in certain ways, of standing together, undefeated by what laid before them. And I'm asking you in a way to do the same. I'm asking you to face this COVID-19 with strength, with the knowledge that we need to help mankind. In the reading of the Aquarian Gospel, it says here, the pagan priests went out and they found the child. They honoured him and bestowed gifts upon him, precious gifts, and gave him gold, frankincense, and myrrh. These priests read the hearts of men, and they knew the wickedness of Herod's heart, and they knew he had sworn to kill the newborn king. So they told the parents of the child in secret and bid them to go beyond his reach. We, as children of the Spirit, bring gifts of the Spirit to this world, and we bring gifts to mankind. And we need to share those gifts. Spiritualism, through its principles, through its belief system, is fantastic. It's a massive truth that embraces all ways of life, all religions. And we need to look upon the hills. In Psalm 121 it says, I will lift up mine eyes to the hills, whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord who has made heaven and earth. In Psalm 137, it said, "How glad I was to stand at the foot of Jerusalem and go enter into the gates." In Psalm 23, it teaches us very gently that the Lord is our shepherd and we shall not want. We need to stand by those words. We need to stand by the words of Isaiah when he proclaims that a child shall be born and he shall be called Emmanuel, which means God within us. And we have God within us. We have the God to help us all, to help each other. I know some people, as I've said earlier, are extremely anxious about not believing and not wanting any medical assistance or help. And I support them if that's their wish, as I have supported people over the years that do not believe in spiritualism and do not believe in God or any religion. And I believe in helping people that are in darkness. Jesus taught to love the Lord thy God with thy heart, and thy soul, and all thy might, and to love thy neighbour as we loved ourselves. We want to be loved. So those who hurt us and inflict sadness and pain upon us, we must forgive as Jesus forgave. And as true spiritual beings, we need to do that. We need to forgive. I've had some upset in my life. I've been hurt by people. People have done some naughty things to me and my family, and people have done naughty things to my church. And we were robbed about 35 years ago. The church was broken into, and all the gifts we'd saved and raised for charity and raffles were all stolen. And the police officer came down, and he was extremely apologetic, and he said, "What else can I say to you? You got anything to add?" And we all said, "We forgive them, because they must need them more than we do." And they were found in a house not far from the church where drug addicts and drinkers lived, and they'd taken them to sell them on for food. And we got some of the kids back. The best part was that the South London Irish Club next door to the church knew of our sadness and hurt and collected and raised money to have our windows repaired and other gifts given to us to help us with our charitable work. And they are people we did not know at the time. I've said that over 30 years ago. It's over 40 years ago. And we need to look to our neighbour. We need to look how we can share our hope. We must not judge people. Try not to judge people. There's a wonderful native First Nation saying from North America: do not judge your brother or sister until you walk in their shoes. Moccasins, actually, but we'll say shoes. And that is so true, because we're inclined to look at people and judge them. I used to have a wonderful, wonderful lady who used to come to my shop in Brixton. She was a customer of mine. She remembered me quite plainly as a little child in the pushchair. Didn't have buggies in days, we had pushchairs. And sitting there in the pushchair with my dad and my mum and other people, Pete and Mickey and Bob from the butchers and all the staff that helped my dad and worked with dad. And it was such an exciting time that as I remember some of it. And this lady, Mrs. Crawford, said to me, "Do you know, Ray?" And she was part of the Church of God, which I believe is Pentecostal. And she said to me, "Ray, back home in Jamaica, my family went to church and we had poor clothes. We had holes in our clothes, so we had patched clothes. And somebody shouted out once, 'Holy, holy, holy.' And my grandmother sat up and said, 'Yes, Lord, but they're clean and they're paid for,' because she thought she had to talk about her clothes. What was important, as she said, is how we went to church. My mentor in my ministry, a gentleman called Reverend Harold Cox, told me of a story of himself one day where this lady came into the church in rags, very dishevelled, very poor of dress. And his attitude was, well, she can't be worth much. To his sadness, she stood up on the platform to be the medium for the afternoon. And he thought, well, not much is going to come of that. And to his passing days, he said it was one of the most beautiful services he ever experienced in his whole life. And Harold, when training as a pastor, used to go around on a moped around certain parts of Birmingham, and he was holding on his bike a old-fashioned reel-to-reel tape recorder, and it went round the corner and the tape recorder slipped off the bike, and he picked it up and it rattled, really, truly rattled. He went back to his church, and Pastor Jeffrey said to him, well, we'll see what we can do. He said, no, Pastor. And he said, I'm in tears, Ray. I'm in tears. And Pastor said, no, let's see what happens. And the pastor plugged it in and it worked. So because something's broken doesn't mean it won't work. And quite often in our own lives, we are broken. But we just need to replug and attach ourselves to the Spirit and be mindful that they will help us and strengthen us. It was Harold who taught me about the word sin. I always had a problem in my teachings and learnings as a kid about the word sin. And Harold taught me to say and believe the word sin just meant you've separated yourself from the goodness of God. So at times when we're low, unwell, angry, upset, we do separate ourselves from God. But it's great when we come back to God. I like to be left alone when I'm feeling down. I don't like to keep being spoken to, and I do go on then very long walks. A few weeks ago I walked from Banstead to Sutton because I needed to speak and chat with myself. I probably had some funny looks as I was talking out loud to myself, but I very, very much enjoy those walks. I haven't done many this weather the last few days here in Mitcham, but those walks I feel connection to God as much as I do when I get into the church or any church. When the teacher Zacharias saw Jesus brought into the temple for his naming and dedication, he said, Father, for thine eyes have seen thy salvation. I have seen the coming of the Lord. I am blessed by that. We now have the birth of Jesus in our hearts and in our minds. We have the love of the Spirit with us always. The wings of angels blessing us, comforting us. The knowledge that we are not alone is so inspiring. We must never doubt in that truth and that understanding. Just want to share one more reading with you. It's from a spiritualist book called Spirit Teachings by Stanton Moses. It's available, or was available, on an SNU website where you could download it. Beware, it's about 200 or 300 pages of paper, but it's worth reading, or if you find it in an old church library. The religion we teach is one of acts and habits, not words and fitful faith. We teach a religion of body, a religion of soul, a religion that's pure and progressive and true, one that aims no finality. It leads its students higher and higher through the ages until the dross of the earth plane is purged away. The spiritual nature is refined, sublimated, and the perfect spirit comes through. Because the soul has to learn through toil and experience. It's presented in a glorified way that we must polish and show beforehand. Because at the very footstool of God, we are there. In this religion, you will find no place for sloth or idleness. The note of spirit teaching is earnest and zeal. You will find no shirking of the impossible, no sin or wrongdoing. Carry with them their own punishment. But we will find that peace and that strength, because we never carry anything that we can't cope with. Your own back must bear them, must bear those worries and strengths, but your own spirit will groan occasionally beneath the weight. But you will find encouragement from the Spirit to live a life of truth and understanding where the orthodox belief is laid aside. You will find the creed taught by us is that actions and habits are more moment than creeds and faith. You will discover the flimsy veil is rent aside, as it was at the crucifixion, and you stand there spiritually naked, open to the world, because you are an instrument to be filled. It is true to this world we find those spirit teachings, be it from books, from your own teachings, from guides. There's so many people out there that are writing poetry. Shirley Monaco is one of them at our church. Jim's been sharing poetry online on the church WhatsApp. And we must think how we can help and share those teachings. The joy of having family around is special. And the hurt that people have because they're not around their family is sad. But let us support those people, because we are a larger family. The Wimbledon Spiritualist Church and Spiritual Psychics TV, we're one giant family. We're one giant family where we can support each other through hope, through knowledge, and through teachings. Spiritual Psychics TV is doing a great job in getting the message of spiritual matters out into the world. Here at Wimbledon Spiritualist Church, we're trying to do the same. Mediums who individually work on Spiritual Psychics TV are doing the same, not only on Spiritual Psychics TV, but in their own communities, in their own mission. Sometimes, as the Spirit Teacher Zodiac says, sometimes we will meet sadness, hurt, treason and treachery. But forgive those things and move on, because the light is in front of us. The teachings of the Spirit are there and always will be there. We used to have so many friends at Wimbledon Church that are now reside in the spiritual Wimbledon Spiritualist Church above in the spirit world. And we used to have some wonderful Christmases with them. We used to have some wonderful times with them all. And I still have those memories, which keeps me going throughout the years. I remember going to Wimbledon Church on a Christmas Eve, and a medium dressing up as Santa, going around wishing everyone Merry Christmas, singing Silent Night as we closed the evening. I can remember my mum reading a Christmas story to my two children on the Christmas service. I can remember myself having my kids come up with us, and we wished you all a Merry Christmas. And those two kids are now in their 30s, working for Spirit in their own way, bringing new life to the Spirit in their own way, and sharing that truth and that teaching in their own way. We all have that. We all have that ability to do that. I do not say sorry for talking so much today, because it's a day where I want to encourage people to feel the strength and the love of the Spirit, because it's there. And it's at times when we are down and are low, we need that comfort even more. November is a difficult month for me as a member of my family, and I know it's the same for Jackie, because November's the month my dad passed to the Spirit, and 4 years later my mum passed to the Spirit. And I find the 11th and 12th and 13th of November, those 2 days, very difficult for me, because I do miss my mum and dad. But I do know at times when I'm not perhaps being, Richard and I were talking about earlier, getting a bit leery and getting out of my pram, I hear my mum say to me very clearly, very solidly, "Raymond, stop it." And I sometimes hear my dad going, go on, son, you tell them." So I have the consciences on both sides of me, and you have to laugh at that, as June's just put up a couple of smileys. You have to laugh. We all have this ability, my friends, just not me, just not Jackie, just not the mediums that serve Wimbledon Church and serve Spiritual Psychics TV, and the mediums and healers everywhere. We all have this ability to share our joy and our love. Never forget that. Never forget we are not alone. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me. It's appointed me to teach and preach the gospel of truth. That gospel of truth is spiritualism. That spiritualism is about life after death, of healing by the power of the Spirit, and manifesting that power and that knowledge in our communities. I commend you to that blessing. I commend you to that statement. Go forth unto this world, bringing the knowledge and the teachings of the Spirit, and know that you are not alone. And it's fine to miss our loved ones, our mums, our dads, our nans, our brothers, our sisters, our children even, in some cases. But what we do have in our heart, we passionately have this in our heart, we are not alone. They are with us still, and they comfort us. Even people that have had miscarriages and children and lost children, those children grow in the Spirit. They manifest their lives in the Spirit. A friend of mine had children that his wife lost 3 miscarriages. He called them Faith, Hope and Charity. And they grew with Bill and Joan. They grew so much with them. And they were then, I have no doubt or hesitation, were met by them when they passed to the Spirit themselves. Remember, as this child is born in a manger, may that light be born in your hearts now for you to do your part in this world of ours. Bring joy, bring comfort and peace. God bless you all. Blessed be to seen and unseen. Thank you.
And I just want to come back as we draw close to the end of this service, and also mention that we're going to be back at the church, Ray and I, for the Sunday service on the 27th. And we're also going to have a little group with us then on the Wednesday, the 30th, which is a Zoom. But the one on Sunday will be on YouTube with Skype with dear Richard. You know, when we had this idea of keeping everyone informed and keeping the services going way back in March of this year, and approaching Richard, and Richard saying that he could help us on a Sunday morning, that it was something we just didn't know about. We'd never really used Skype before, and the amazing thing is we'd been putting all this technology into the church a few months before with TV screens, and all through this year we've added to it for the sound and the right amount of space for, you know, computers to be able to work their magic. Because part of me still is magic, that I press a button here and press a button there. And I'm just seeing a couple more people putting their name up. So thank you, Sally. And I saw Ian Mason that's joining us there as well. So thank you, Ian. And I know you've done tremendous amount of work and tremendous amount of services. And we've started off, this year is actually a pioneer year, because mediums have worked online and managed to conduct services that we never thought possible. We never thought that we could go from strength to strength, and ideally it was so that our church community could join us in a service that we knew that we could all be together, and that we'd be able to hear one another and visualize ourselves in church. But in fact it grew and it grew, and I know on occasion that there have been 1,200 people listening in on our services, and people saying, you know, that they're from Australia, from South Africa, you know, places in Europe, you know, absolutely everywhere. And it's been amazing, and we've actually managed to reach more people than we ever thought possible. So we can't actually imagine that we would never not embrace the Skype now to be part of our permanent Sunday morning service. You know, we know that we will be through this tunnel, and we also know that we will have, you know, our church family back in church, but we will continue this wonderful new family that we embrace, all of you, in the virtual world. And I put my arms out to hug you all and to feel that lovely energy that we can take from this service and take it out into the world, because that is important. We have reached so many of you that don't have spiritualist churches locally, that didn't even realise they were a spiritualist. But as a famous medium said to me on my first week of attending a spiritualist church, and it was a wonderful Doris Collins, had said, well, do you believe in an afterlife? And I said, yes. And do you believe, you know, that you've had communication with people from heaven? And I said, yes. And she said, well, you're a spiritualist. You know, we all have slightly different perspectives on our spiritualism. To me, it's a science. To me, it's a wonderful philosophy. To me, it's my way of life. It isn't just something we live on a Sunday. Once you open yourself up spiritually, you continue to live that life spiritually. But as I say, I just wanted to thank Richard and to thank you all for joining us over this last 9 months, that we never envisaged being able to do this. And as I say, I've given a plug to some of the things that we are doing in the next week or so. We've had a little chat with Richard, and we'll have another chat with Richard over the next few weeks about bringing more philosophy and taking it out there so that you can actually hear more philosophy, because that is an important part. It isn't just the communication with the spirit world that gives us so much comfort. It is the philosophy we need that helps us live our lives in the right way for this training ground that we have as Earth. And I wanted to ask Richard if there were other events he's got over the next couple of days. I didn't mean to go on. I hope you didn't think that I went on too long then. But I just wanted to say, I know that you have various different things normally on a Sunday. I don't know if you've got any demonstrations for next weekend or any meetings.
The only thing we have is, I think everybody can hear me.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, everyone.
And we give our love out to you, Richard.
Thank you.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
Well done, Richard.
That is. Right, that's brilliant. And as I say, the work that you've done, you know, has been amazing. And the pioneering mediums, like our own Mason, Bill Hughes, and many others that have, you know, have worked with Skype and Zoom in ways that they never envisaged possible. So we will take that as a positive that came out of 2020. That and somebody's just saying, oh yes, and love Ashley's chats. Our son Ashley has had some absolutely wonderful evenings with his philosophy Friday nights, and I've enjoyed them. I don't know if he's on again Friday week and what his subject is, but I'm sure that at some point I'll be there. I'll certainly be listening again to him and hopefully join him with some of those. But it has been fantastic to get out to so many people, and I really, it's wonderful that we've all managed to be together here this morning, for you to take an hour out of your time on a Christmas morn and know that we are all together in this. So I'm going to hand you back to Ray for a final.
Well, friends, we're coming to the end of our service today, and I thank Richard, as I've already said a couple of times today, but I truly do thank Richard from my heart. I'm so pleased that Jackie and I have been able to come into your homes and share our teachings and our love. Please take from our teachings and our talks out and share that with people. And Jackie and I send our love and strength to you all. And we are always available at Wimbledon Spiritualist Church to help those in need. And I just close our meeting with prayer. Under God's gracious care, protection, I commit you. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord cause his face to shine upon you, be gracious unto you. And the Lord give you his peace, now and forevermore. Amen.
Amen.
Go out to this world. Bring forward the commandments and knowledge of spiritualism to all those you encounter. and stay blessed in your lives, safe and sound. God bless you, friends. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
And Happy New Year if we don't hear from you till next year. And somebody saying, please, could you tell us what Richard said? So somebody
could you repeat
obviously
your
didn't hear
New
you,
Year's
Richard.
Eve message, please, Richard? No.
No, please.
Like trance, bring yourself forward.
Hi everybody, Richard here. Just want to wish everybody a happy new Christmas, happy new year, and a great Christmas. Ran the wrong way, never mind. Let's see, what a good giggle. That's what we need. Just to let everybody know that
That's right.
just, thanks to Wimbledon, especially Ray and Jackie and Ashley, for bringing everybody together as well. So thank you from my heart as well to everybody else. Keeping SPTV alive has been very important to me, and seeing those messages from Spirit come through to everybody who need that upliftment. Just remember that we're never alone. They are always going to be with us no matter what we do. And if we're feeling low at any point, just talk to them, because that's what they're there for. Because they don't want us to feel low. They don't want us to feel lonely, because it's all done through love and light, as you know. And listening to what Ray and Jackie and everybody else at Wimbledon says, there's some very important messages that they give to everyone. So thank you again. And just to let everybody know, New Year's Eve, because we're all in tier 4, or most of us are in tier 4, that means we can't go out and play and get drunk and be merry and chat up people, and I miss those days, you know.
Yeah, I remember the good old days.
So yeah, as a friend, just sidelining here, a friend of mine did say I should start up a singles spiritualist chat site, you know, for everybody who's single. I think I'll be first on the list. But anyway, New Year's Eve, for those who are on their own, we are going to be doing a Zoom party for everybody to participate. They don't have to put their cameras on, but to hear their voice would be great. So all the information will be on the SPTV fan page, and that's on Facebook, just SPT, the fan page, or if you're a VIP member, so it'll actually be the SPTV lounge, VIP lounge pages. So all details on the Zoom will be placed there from 10 o'clock New Year's Eve for everybody to get together, see the new year in, and to have lots of fun, jokes and fun. And I'll even do some of my fake readings as well. So have a great Christmas. Enjoy your next few days. So obviously the only service we have is the Wimbledon Spiritualist Church service this Sunday at 11 a.m. So have a great day, everybody, and I'll speak to you all very soon.
Okay,
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bless you, Richard. Bye, everyone.
Have a good
Blessings.
Christmas day.
Take care.